Okay, we're going to check Greenie's tanks here to see if they're clean or not. What I wanted to show right here, this water is from the refrigeration unit, my air compressor. If you don't have a refrigeration unit, all that water there, even if you have a water reduction unit, is still predominantly going to go into your clean gas tank. You have to have a refrigeration unit, your air compressor, if you're going to do this properly. Must. We've been blowing air into them all night. Just take those lines over there right now. I'm going to try, but I don't think I'll be able to get this on camera, but we'll see what we get. What we have now is sparkling clean gas tank. Let me take these air lines off. Okay, so I might have to take another video of this with the cell phone because it can get up close where all these other expensive cameras can't. And one of the guys watching the channel post last night, well, what do you put in your tanks? I'm thinking about putting cream in. Whatever you do, don't put cream in or any type of coating like that. What you'll do is ruin your carburetor and your tanks. Even if you do it just perfect, which most people don't, it'll last about 2 or 3 years and it'll start coming off, and there we're going to your tanks and your carburetor, and you can never get that shit out of your tanks. Main process I'm aware of. Let's see if we can get this on film. Here, I'm gonna try. Well, doesn't. There we go. We can see a little bit of it. Nice and clean. All right, gray stuff. As you can see, that's parkerizing. All these tanks from Harley were parkerized. They were dipped in a parkerizing solution before they were painted. Now, if you're dealing with bare metal tanks, like reproduction, bare metal tanks, brand new tanks, if you really want to make them last, that's exactly what you do. You do what Harley Davidson did. These tanks are from 1940. Look how clean they are. They didn't have very much rust, but I didn't want any bit of rust going into my motor or my carburetor, so I cleaned them out. Would it have run without doing it? Yes, it would have, but it wouldn't have been right. So we took the time to clean out the tanks. I've dealt with far rustier tanks. I mean, just massive amounts of crud coming out of there. And it takes several douches of this rusty coat to get them clean, and several months. I've also seen tanks with cream. You try to pull this fitting off or that fitting off, it just breaks off in your hands. Just destroyed the tanks. Don't use cream ever. No excuse for it. End of story. Now, if you're dealing with a set of tanks that have no plating inside, they're gone too far, it's too rusty, but they're still good, you want to save it. So the early tanks, the soldered Harley tanks, they were tinned by a plater. So you can use a tin coating, you can use a parkerizing coating, even CAD or zinc, which is easy to obtain, is better than bare metal. That coating will help prevent rust. So you take your tanks and you have them plated. So if you're dealing with a set of painted tanks, like obviously I wouldn't want to plate these tanks because they're nice original paint. So I want to save my paint tanks, and I got nothing, no coating inside. What you got to do at that point in time, you take and there's a company called POR15, POR15. You can get it through Hemmings Motor News. And you have to have an oven to do this, and you run it all around in the tanks everywhere, and you let it seal in the oven. I forget the temperature. It's been 20 years since we used it, but it works quite well. It'll last for about 4 or 5 years. Then it starts coming off from your tanks, and that's the best product. So other than that, you can do what I'm going to do to these tanks. I'm going to molecularly bond the Gibbs brand to them before I put them back on the bike. So I'm going to shut this off now. I've got to find a way to pour some of my Gibbs brand into the tanks. I got to reseal the tanks. I'm going to let them sit with the product for about a week. I'm going to pour it back out, let it air dry. I'm going to let it drip dry. And the air combines with the Gibbs and molecularly bonds the Gibbs to the tanks inside. And that'll help prevent rust, along with most of the parkerizing is still there. So how do I know this? Well, y'all saw the 49WL many videos. I was up at a buddy of mine, Roland's, who was very misty in the air and had on an outside trailer. And it got completely wet. The next morning it was completely rusty. But it had been squirted with Gibbs brand. You know what I was able to do to get my rust off? I wiped it off with a cloth. What? Yeah, I wiped the rust off with a cloth. That's how good Gibbs is. I've never seen nothing like it. So anyhow, that's this video. That's this process of the tanks. And then for my spiel now, I'm going to go ahead and upload this, and once I get the Gibbs brand ready to pour in the tanks and everything sealed back up, you've all seen how to do that, then I'll make a video of me putting the Gibbs in. See you next time.